So I'm a Gambit shirt, everyone. So you know it's time for taking you for a ride down, of course, this time that Marvel Rivals, everyone. But I think it's kind of fun, right? Because I actually did my first tier list on YouTube like 10 years ago. Was Marvel Avengers Alliance, which of course was the best player in the world. Straight up, factually, I was the ranked number 1 player in the world in that game. And I made a tier list, and it was the greatest tier list of all time. No, it was amazing because I did all this share sheets and math and everything, and nothing made any sense. That was really good, but it was incredibly complicated. But Emma Frost was completely broken. That I remember about that game was that in about the Alliance, yeah, Emma Frost was so broken that in like I think in third season she was the best hero in like 29 or something. It was absurd. She isn't in the game yet though, guys, but I'm sure she will be powerful. She finally arrived, sent with Jean Grey, right? But anyway, guys, hello, of course, time for Marvel Rivals, the tier list, the only things you actually need to actually give you the real answers, right? The most accurate tier list. And immediately, guys, what we do here is we're gonna go over the best heroes, the trashiest, worst heroes, and then whatever in the middle, right? So, I see a lot of people do tier lists, right? But no one does them as good as me. No, but I feel no one does them in the right order. People, they go by alphabet or something, whatever, tier list or no. What you actually care about, right, is who are the best characters and who are the worst characters, right? And in every game, especially here, we have more than 30 characters, right? You get enough with like 10 to 15 characters in the middle, like kind of the B tier, the green tier, right? It's like, yeah, you can play them, but like, you know, yeah, there's always no one cares about that, right? What we care about are the top tier and the absolute unplayable trash tier, right? What you actually care about. But yeah, I know a lot about Marvel, especially. I used to have a Marvel YouTube channel, what is it, right? But it's kind of funny because I played Rivals way too much now. This game here on the same day. Haven't even opened this game yet here, Fantasia. Gonna play it after I get tired of Rivals, I don't know. But of course, I used to work at Blizzard. I worked at Overwatch a bit, and I know a lot about Overwatch, right? So I was listening here. This series here, we will competitive to Overwatch. And I don't mean as like, oh, this is Overwatch clone. I mean more as, I think that most people, right, that are playing this game, it is from like previous PC players, will have like Overwatch, you know, comparison, right? So I've been the top ranked Overwatch player, my brother as well. I have a lot of friends. Actually, one of my best friends has been number 1 in Europe, actually, in Overwatch for a while. So if it's just natural that sometimes in this video I will say, oh, this is like Overwatch, and you can understand this is better or worse or whatever, right? Because sometimes you can find a hero and be like, well, this is kind of like Overwatch, just worse, right? Or better. So it's one thing. It's easy sometimes to kind of explain, like, oh yeah, but that's like, huh. But anyway, let's get started. Like I said, then we're going from like worse to better, right, so to speak. So we start with the best ones, and here, first of all, the video, guys. Welcome to my ride here. I'll explain to you basic tanking, okay? Because the first character I want to is Cap, of course. You know, I love Cap. This is my favorite Avengers, OG Avenger. I know he wasn't part of it. He wasn't actually part of the first Avengers. I know. He was part of the second Avenger team. Yeah, he was in Avengers volume, the fourth issue of Avengers. He was part of the fight in Loki. But whatever, nerd side alone, Cap is a great character. I have a huge painting of Cap over there. He's my favorite, more or less one of my favorite Marvel characters. Him and Spider-Man. What's the point? I'm biased. What's the point? I'm biased. No, but seriously. Okay, let's talk about tanking then. So, as a side note, I think you have to further explain this thing, right? And I hope you guys welcome this here. And this is why I hope my tier lists are a little more useful than I compare it to my Baldur's Gate 3 tier list, where I actually will explain, right, how to actually play the game. It sounds super, I know, but my point is that just listing and saying, oh, Cap is a great tank, doesn't make much sense, I feel. But anyways, my point then is that you have, and I'm very much like, you know, doing it super simple now. You have 2 kind of tanks, okay? There's something you have to really understand in this game. I'm gonna move myself over here, so we have a really, really good point. Now I'm making a good point here, okay? You have 2 kind of tanks in Marvel Rivals. Same with Overwatch or whatever. So same with most of these games, okay? 2 kind of tanks. You have the offensive tank and the defensive tank, okay? So Cap is a terrible defensive tank, right? He's not very good with the team. When you're moving the payload and he's standing there with the shield, kind of small bubble thing, that's terrible, right? And Strange has a massive shield, much better for defense, right? But for offense, Cap is the best in the game. On offensive tank then, it's a tank that will jump into their side, right? He will go on the flank, he will try to kill off the healers in the back, he will try to, turn off the snipers, right? And Cap is very, very mobile, okay? He can jump twice, right? You have the leap and the dash, and he can jump out again. So him, and especially Venom, which is the most of this thing, Venom and Cap are very, very good at the jumping at the healers, right? Or again, usually the snipers, and you cannot use a new tank by that, right? What I love with Cap, though, because he has this deflect ability, right? When you jump the healer in the back, they will be like, oh, please help me, Cap told me, right? Everyone will turn to you, then you deflect on the bullets. So it's amazing, right? Where, for example, if you're standing with your team again, the shield isn't that good because it's tiny, and they will shoot next to you, right? So Camp is like a fantastic, like a diver into that. So again, he's an offensive tank, right? Comparable, for example, Magneto, defensive tank, right? Dr. Strange, defensive tanking, right? Magneto in particular is very defensive because he can also make shields, like Dr. Strange, and he can throw a shield at someone, you make a bubble around someone, and that bubble, right, isn't very useful. Or the bubble is useful, but it's hard to aim with it if you're in the offense, right? Because you have to kind of see the whole battlefield, so you can throw a bubble at your ally, which have low health, right? That can be hard to do if you're in the front. Rather, you want to be in the back, so you have a great vision of the whole battlefield. So that's a good example of a defensive tank, right? And obviously, when it comes to tanking, then you have to kind of, choose two, right? And I think that, yeah, speaking here, right, for new players to this genre, when you're making a team, more people say you should have 2 tanks, 2 healers, right, and 2 DPS. And I don't agree with it 100%. That's very generic. But if you have that team, that classic 2-2-2 team, right, you kind of want to have, for example, then Cap and Magneto, right, or like Venom and Magneto, or Cap and Strange or whatever. You don't want to have, for example, then Cap and Venom. That's a terrible team, because both of you are going to dive in, right? Then you have no one standing with the team, right? that's not very good. And I will say this thing, it's definitely much more playable having 2 defensive tanks, right? You can have Strange and Magneto together. Not the best team, I would say, but that's a workable team, perhaps. But having Cap and, like I said, Venom is a terrible team, because you both just jump in there and like, okay, well, yeah. Or if you both save your team, you both have terrible defensive options, right, with your team. So that's going to be terrible as well. So something that's very worth thinking about, how do you actually make my team, right? But anyway, so generally there, that explains how tanking works, right? In a very simplistic offensive setting. And then Cap, I would say, then is again the best offensive tank, right? I think it's much better than Venom. Venom is easy to play. He is difficulty 1, and I think it makes sense that he's there because he feels like he's just a worse Cap. He feels like Winston in Overwatch because he has tackles and Tesla gun. But honestly, I just feel like Cap does almost everything Venom does better. The only thing that Venom is better at is kind of escaping. When you're low health, right, he can shield himself and you can run out again of the field. But Venom isn't as fast as Cap when you're actually in the fight, because when Cap lands on a healer, right, and then you run away, you can dash after them. You can always run, and you can do your short end into them, and so on. And Cap's ultimate is much more useful when you kind of buff the whole team, right? A very good ultimate. Extremely good. Cap has one of the best ultimates too, when you want to push all together into the takeover area. So Venom ultimate is like an AoE, right? So yeah, I think Venom is a worse Cap. And the only reason I think people play Venom is because it might be popular, but probably because it's just easier. I think Venom is an easier Cap, but he's already in B tier. I don't think he's terrible, but just compare him, he's 2 slides lower than Cap. Cap also has a shield, which is a much better finisher. Yeah, Cap can always shield to finish him usually. So yeah, I feel that Venom does almost exactly the same thing as Cap does, used worse. They're very similar though. They're very similar, because they both got a leap strike and so on. They're very, very similar, and they have the exact same role basically in the team. But also, as you said, right, Cap is, like I said, an offensive tank, but his deflector, his shield, deflect abilities, is still a very good shield, even though it's very tiny. So he does something on a defensive standpoint, right? which again you want to be there, but sometimes of course you will be there because you might kill someone, you might go back a bit, heal up, and then you can save his cap, and then you heal up, and you can jump in again and so on. Where Venom is like, you go back and you stand and take bullets. So Venom can't do nothing with his team, right? He's completely pointless with his like the rest of the guys in the back lane. So he has like 0% defense abilities for the teammates. Yeah, it's a very almost trashed in that sense, but so I think it's like a fair comparison, I would say. But anyway, let's go on then. What's a more really top tier character? Another top tier character is Jeff, the goddamn shark. Yeah, this is like obviously the ultimate, just too powerful, right? So Jeff then, he's a healer, strategist. You should probably refer to healer, support or whatever, but he's a supporting character. He can heal, he can ride on Groot's shoulders, pretty cute and so on. Generally, he's a good healer, because he can constantly heal at you. Not the drawbacks there, but I think just the whole his ability, his ultimate is so powerful. He arguably has the best ultimate in the game, where you can just swallow the whole enemy team and just like do like a penta kill, or even better than a penta quadra, and sometimes even a hecta, right? But usually you kill like 20 people with it. It's very powerful, extremely powerful on some stages. He is of course a little bit stage dependent though. Obviously in some areas his ultimate is way better. But even if you have a situation where you can't just kick people out and from the ultimate, like kill them like that, even those times you can ultimate the whole enemy team and like move away with them, right? Yeah, swim away with them, and you can push the core. It is an amazing ultimate because even if you don't die, you can just remove so many people from the fight. So probably again the best ultimate in the game, followed with I don't know if he's the best healer in the game, but he has probably the most straightforward healing, supportive abilities, like buff abilities. He's just like he feels really OP, honestly. He only feels it's broken, but I don't think that he's gonna stay in this. I have a hard time seeing him staying here though. He does, of course, loses in Overwatch, pushes people down, right? But yeah, I feel like Jeff will not stay in this top tier because he's not. I don't think his hit is that good. Everything else, like yeah, he's not bad. His healer is alright, but it obviously is ultimate that really is like, oh my god, ultimate is so broken, right? So I think they're probably gonna nerf that, and he probably will go down a little bit. But on the same time, I don't think they're gonna like remove his ability because clearly is what he's doing. But yeah, he's probably like another super potent character. Another healer, that's Mantis, right? Which I think is also very powerful. Actually, I find it better than Jeff. I said immediately. So I think they're gonna nerf Jeff, but he probably go down to 8 tier in the next patch, would be my guess. Because it's kind of annoying how it works, right? Mantis feels like a much more stable supportive character. She's probably the best supportive character in the game right now. It's also very easy to player. So Mantis is, how to say it? She's just very straightforward, right? You can heal people when you have done headshots, critical hits, so you get like your healing orbs back. But what she'd rather do, I would say, is she can also buff people up, right? So she can buff everyone to do more damage. You can also buff yourself. This is also why I feel Mantis is very powerful, because I mean, a lot of people, right, currently have issues with like Iron Fist and Cap or whatever, right, diving you and killing you. But Mantis is like one of the strongest healer, while she's also actually she's in DPS, but she basically out DPS, right? She's that kind of healer character currently, but she also probably might get nerfed, because she basically does too much damage by herself, right? So you can do like almost equally down damage to the DPS, which means that when someone dives you can just kill them basically, right? It's like super easy for her, and she can like sleep someone down, right? She got that like sedative attack, which also means you can survive a diver. She's probably again the best healer to be in the back line and not die from people jumping you, which is very, very powerful, because a lot of people playing Iron Fist and so on, right? Like I mentioned. So that's very, very strong. But then also she has this general ability to kind of stand half mid-range and do high damage and just buff everyone else, right? So her healing is like very strong, but she can like hot heal everyone, so heal over time on everyone, and just kind of do high damage, right? So it's very like a hybrid character between damage and healing. And then in the end she has her like ultimate, just makes everyone immortal basically, heals everyone. for a few seconds, which is counters most other ultimates. Yeah, she has an ultimate which is pretty common in these kind of games where she just makes everyone immortal basically, right? For how long is it? Like 5-10 seconds. But what it does is that basically her ultimate will counter another ultimate, right? If someone ultimates your team and she ultimates back, everyone will be fine basically, right? So it's like an anti-ultimate most of the time, which is very strong because it doesn't counter every ultimate. For example, it doesn't counter Jeff's ultimate, right? Yeah, but it counters most other ultimates and makes them like nullified, right? Even if you do like 2 of them at the same time. So she's like a quite good ultimate. But and lastly, funny enough, probably put Loki also in this tier. Goddamn healers, man, they're OP, man. No, but seriously, Loki is probably the best. His ultimate, I feel, is pretty weak. Ultimate is kind of weird. So let's have that on first. His ultimate basically is just like I'm copying another character. It's very dependent on the matchup. If you want to do that right, it's very dependent on who you're facing and what you want and so on. So it's either strong or weak. It's very high utility, I guess, but it's kind of hard to determine that. But Loki as a character is just really powerful. Probably the best kit of all Sigils, right? Because he's like a mixture of healer, DPS, and like a turret builder. Because you can make your clones, of course. You can make 2 Loki clones, and they will shoot abilities, right? And when I started playing the game, I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting. You can make a clone, you can like hide away and make another clone, you can like swapping your area. And it's for trickery, guys. You can teleport to new clones and all this fun stuff, right? So I first thought of that, like, oh, this is great because I can use like it's hard to kill me and I can heal myself and the team. It's like healing runes and all this good stuff, right? And that's very true. However, the clones basically is working like good DPS because you put them as turrets, right? You build them as towers, so they will shoot enemies constantly. They will find enemies for you, and they will protect you because people will shoot at them sometimes and so forth, right? So he's basically like this weird character where he's like, I guess, best comparison Torbjörn, right? In Overwatch now, from Göteborg, yeah, he can build his turrets, but he can also heal, and then you can, also hide and so on. Of course, I also have later on Namor also has turrets, but yeah, his turrets are a little weaker than Namor, but higher survivability, and he can heal your team. And then he got this weird ultimate where you can copy someone else, and they can also be really good sometimes. So he is incredibly strong. Actually, I think he has the best kit of the basic characters. I think it's better than Jeff. Maybe better than Mantis. So they're probably about up there. They're both like really good S-tier healers. And then Namor, then, I think Namor pretty powerful, but I put them in like worse than Loki, basically, right? Yeah, because so it's the middle, right? Like I said, actually beating turrets in this game, pretty powerful. They do high damage, probably too high damage. Namor is a better turret builder than Loki, but Loki is again very similar to Namor, right? But he can also heal the team, which again makes Loki really powerful. So I think Loki is very powerful. But I think Namor also is quite strong because, again, turrets, mentioned that they're powerful. But his self-shield thing just makes it almost impossible to kill Namor. Yeah, Namor jumps up with his water shield thing, and you can like fly up with that, and it's really, really hard to kill him. And he does actually pretty high damage with his trident throwatic. And then his ultimate is also one of the better ultimates. You can very easily AoE high damage to everyone. So I put Namor in A tier right now, but I might put him in B tier later. But he's somewhere like B in A tier. But I just mostly want to just compare against it, how Loki is like a better Namor. Right? Yeah, just straight up. Like, why would you play Namor if you can play Loki? It's kind of how it feels. It's like, because he only has slightly lower damage, but he has a heal instead, which is so much better. But anyway, let's keep going. But this is a good stock comparison here. What more do we have? Okay, we mentioned Iron Fist. He's very, very powerful. Probably. But Iron Fist, I wish say, this might be a little controversial here. People are hating me now. Is he really S tier feel? I feel that Iron Fist actually isn't that, I think it's actually A tier. So, let me people are gonna hate me now, people are gonna get angry now, man, okay? This is why I make people angry, right? They're gonna be like, how can you say that Iron Fist isn't S tier? Iron Fist is probably the most hated character right now. He jumps in and he smacks your healers right in the back, and it's very powerful. And my point isn't necessarily that, as long as the opponents are good players, they will deal with that. To some extent, I think it is true though, that there is an Iron Fist that's very powerful, but people suck, right? There is an Iron Fist that's so good right now, it's because people can't teammate and they can't defend their friends, right? So they just let the healers in the back die, and the snipers want to die in the back. So I don't think that's one reason why. However, the main reason why I don't think he's S tier, he's more an A tier character, is because you still have to have a certain enemy like combatant, right, to be useful. So if the enemy doesn't have any healers, and I don't mean like a little bit, but if they don't have, you know, like snipers, they don't have characters standing in the back, I usually have healers, but if they don't have like other characters that are kind of weak in the, you know, flankers, so to speak, Iron Fist is way less useful, right? This goes true for every other character too, like Wolverine and Cap and so on too, to some extent. But I think it's like Iron Fist right now, he's very, very good against defeating like snipers, right? But primarily Hawkeye, Black Widow. He's very good against healers, but mostly I think it's like, you know, weak DPS in the back, right? That's where he really, really, really shines. But when I play the game, they're not that common to play, you know. So usually you have to jump the healer, right? I don't actually see that much snipers or so on in the game currently on my tier. I mean, it depends on your tier again, right? So I think Iron Fist isn't S tier because you have to kind of be like, well, the opponents need to have a bunch of, you know, weak guys in the back, right, to be useful. If they have, and one thing which I think is very weak actually with all these melee characters is that the opponent also have a bunch of melee characters, right? Basically, and they're like you can't really jump in then, you know what I mean? Where we Cap, you can't, because attack and Venom same thing, right? So Iron Fist I think is a little bit like situational, you know what I mean? He's situational, yeah. So I don't think he's ST people are saying, but sure, he is very good against in certain matchups, in certain time-ish, depending on the opponent, is very, very powerful. And I think that where is he? Black Panther should be that one, right? I think so, yeah. He's kind of like just a weaker Iron Fist, yeah. Honestly, yeah, I feel Black Panther is just a worse Iron Fist. He's just like, he's also pretty good, but he's kind of like, why would I pick Black Panther when I can play Iron Fist, right? I guess it's slightly faster going forward in the beginning. His ultimate might be more useful sometimes, but Iron Fist ultimate is kind of like, if you go to kill, I don't know, they're both kind of similar, and you know. But I think everything I said with the weakness of Iron Fist is the same to him as well, which is worth it. And that brings us to the first trash tier. Let's talk about trash. And you probably know what I'm talking about. This is so terrible, this trash, man. It is so terrible that this guy is trash. He's probably the most popular character in the game, right? And he's trash. Wolverine, man. Wolverine is goddamn useless. Yeah, this is crazy. I have to say, honestly, I am surprised how they managed to make goddamn Logan, Wolverine, again, probably him or Spider, right? The most popular character in Marvel, and he's like the worst character in the game. He is probably the worst character. He's so bad. Like, it's just like, I know, when the first character I played was Wolverine. I hated it. No, like, it's just terrible. He's so terrible. So, my God, where should I start? Where should I start? Right? So, first of all, Wolverine, and this is what I'm doing in a little order, right? Wolverine fits in the same role as Iron Fist, as Black Panther, so on, right? And also Captain. He jumps in and dives them, right? He kind of goes in there and, you know, Berserker Barrage, you know, he goes in there and dives them, obviously. So, in that sense, he is similar, right, to, for example, then, Kunlun's fighting style, so on, right? But the thing is that, obviously, is that Iron Fist is way better at it, you know what I mean? And also Black Panther, because it's like, he jumps them with a leap, and then he's not very fast, and you can attack them, and it's very useful. And the other guys just kind of, I don't know, Iron Fist can dive after them, or you can fly after them. He's way, way faster, right? Cap can run way faster. He can, you know, as I mentioned earlier, Cap has a leap and a dash, and he can like, and he can also do like a charge thing. So Cap has 3, you know, mobility abilities, right? And so on. Logan just, I don't know, he does nothing. He's just so bad, yeah. He's by far like the hardest melee character probably to actually engage. Not engage with, but how to say it? Logan is probably the worst melee because it's so hard for him to actually stay on top of them. Yeah, stay on them, right? Because, like I said, Cap and Iron Fist are probably the 2 best characters to keep being on top of, you know, the opponent, right? Where Wolverine is too slow for that, only has 1 leap, so after you leap in, right, they're just gonna run away from you. If they see you and leave you, you're kind of screwed, right? So he just he can't like sustain damage on you. And I know he has another like ability because it's ultimate, but obviously I don't think you can say that he has 2 leaps. Yeah, ultimate leaping, but that's like how often can you do that, right? So often just the time you can't really do any damage with him, and it's just kind of like, it's just terrible. And I think that overall Wolverine is just really terrible in this game, and it's the game's like only truly probably trashy character. And I think that he should be a tank, you know. It seems really weird that he's a DPS character. He should be a Vanguard, right? He should be like Cap more. He should probably be... I hope to rebalance him, give him much more tanky abilities, make him slightly faster and so on. But overall, you know, more self-healing and so on. I think he should be a tank rather interesting than a kind of weird DPS character. Doesn't really work. Now, lastly though, should basically know, Wolverine's ability though, his claw attack, you know, basic metal claws, they do actually do percentage damage on the opponent's max health. So actually, Wolverine is supposed to be good against like Hulk and so on, you know, kind of funny wise. Yeah, he's supposed to actually be a tank and tank guy. So I will say that no, more people play him completely wrong. They use jumping with him, right? But he's actually the best at getting at their tanks. However, that also doesn't really work with Wolverine. He is trash cheap. Even if you're imagining, okay, I'm only gonna focus on their tanks, so my damage is higher, okay, but his ability doesn't work like that anyway, because his ability is to dive in, right? Like, you know, against the healer or against the DPS, right? He's like, his abilities, his mechanics, again, are built to like jump a sniper, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I guess you can jump to the tank when they jump you or something. So I think the only place where I put Wolverine is like useful is if they have a lot of divers. If they have both Cap and Venom, right? And they're diving your team, he can stand on your back and own them, right? That's kind of what he's good at, but that like never happens, right? So it feels very like, what? He seems super weird. That's why I hope they're gonna rebuild him completely. He's for me is the most obvious trash here in the game, and he's almost basically unplayable. I hate playing him, even if I like know what he's supposed to counter tanks, right? I'm like, but it doesn't even work because it would be better if he had like maybe lifesteal, you know, like if he hit you, he would lifesteal based on your max health or something. Then he would be even better against tanks. Then he could sustain himself against Hulk or whatever very easily. That would be more useful, something like that. They're having like a double leap thing with ultimate. I don't know. It's very, very strange. Very weird character. It doesn't make any sense how he works at all. Scarlet Witch, very similar. I think I put her in C tier, almost also trash tier. I'm bringing it up now then because she's also very similar to Wolverine, because I feel she's basically also only useful just where Wolverine is useful, right? Because her ability, the homing reality warping, whatever it's called, her like, you know, energy attack that she can't miss with. It's also an anti-tank thing, right? Because it does like percentage life. So Scarlet Witch is also basically anti-tank then. But she's better than Wolverine, right? Because she doesn't really miss them. And I find her to only be good really in kind of the same situation where they are diving you a lot, right? If they have like both Venom and Cap, they have a Venom that jumps into you all the time. She's very anti-Venom, very anti-Cap and so on, but especially anti-Venom, so she hard counters Venom very easily. And she's pretty good at if they again have a lot of like leaper ins, right? So if they have both Venom and Iron Fist and so on, right, then she's a very good DPS. But it's basically only that, you know, yeah. They have to like jump you into you. She's quite slow, right? She's almost melee range herself. She basically is like playing a melee character you can't miss, right? Which means that she beats other melee characters, but she's terrible at any other DPS that can shoot from range, right? So I find her completely useless, honestly. Unless if they have, like I said, Venom and so on. Then I pick her, because she's very good Venom, yeah. Which to some extent, though, talking about the TDS here, right? You have to remember that some character or you can swap character, right? I know I'm better too, but haven't played Overwatch in the past, right, and so on. You have to learn to actually swap characters, right? And I pick her every time if they play, like I said, all of these, like, you know, heavy, tanky, diver guys. But Wolverine should also be able to do that, but it's like, why would I pick him and play her instead? And her ultimate is pretty okay then. The classic Diva nuke explosion is pretty good. Like, you just at least it pushes the enemy away from the place, right? Pretty good ultimate, but not the best ultimate. But like, it usually is useful, because even if you miss with ultimate, her ultimate will force everyone else to run away from you. right? So you can be on the payload and be like, oh, I'm exploding! And then most of you run away so you can get free from it, right? So you can capture it as well. So it's pretty useful. Another trashy character, very old terrible, is Storm. She's very, very terrible. Yeah, Storm is just also utter trash. I would say she's better than Wolverine, but she's also trash tier, absolutely. I like how she looks. I like how she has the punk Storm look, right? The Mohawk look. That's really cool, her skin. Oh yeah, forever, Wolverine looks terrible. Wolverine looks terrible, Jesus Christ, I'm thinking about it, Wolverine looks terrible. Wolverine is terrible. Everything in Wolverine is terrible. He looks so, his jacket is so bad, Jesus Christ. Wolverine is definitely the worst trash, but anyway. Storm is also trash. It's Black Panther's revenge, I guess. If you ever read, what is it? This is classic X-Men comic. I say classic, but okay. So side note here, right? Storm used to have her, punk hair, right? The Mohawk hair, back in the 80s, right? And then she had the fuller hair in the 90s and 2000s. But then there is this story when she breaks up with Black Panther. She's married to T'Challa, right? But then she divorces T'Challa, and then immediately she gets her Mohawk again. She cuts off her hair, and then she goes and has sex with Wolverine in the shower immediately. Because it's like a really weird scene. Black Panther's on the phone with her, like, no, don't sleep with him. Like, it's super weird. It's like a net. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm not gonna find it now, but it says in the scene. In some event, in some X-Men. Oh my god, 2012 maybe, something like that, 13. Where she gets her punk hair back again. She immediately is like, I'm gonna smash Wolverine. It's super weird. Black Panther is aware of it and begs her not to sleep with Wolverine. It's super strange. It's super strange shit. It's stuck in my head. But yeah, that's what she got back into her punk face. But so it's kind of funny. This is what I mean. Netto raring. Yeah, they got cursed by that. But anyway, she's also terrible, right? Why is she terrible for? Well, she's kind of like, I guess she's the game's Farah, right? Compared to Overwatch, but I suppose so. A lot of characters can fly in this game, though. But she's kind of is her and Iron Man, I would say, and to some extent Star-Lord, but not as much. Her and Iron Man, they're the most floaty character. Right? They kind of float up in the sky and shoot at you. Other characters like Hela and Star-Lord, they kind of do it, with the ultimate and so mostly. But she kind of is constantly up in the sky, right? Which to some extent should make her good, but not really, because she's far too slow for that matter. So it's easy to shoot her down. So, she's kind of vulnerable up in the sky, right? And she doesn't move fast enough. I can say honestly, a buff for Storm would maybe be to just improve her movement speed. She's flying. If it's like doubled, she could dodge a lot more. Her DPS would still be terrible. She's a very low DPS character, but at least she can kind of dodge stuff, right? Because that fit her character more, I think. But anyway, her DPS is basically far too low. She does very, very low damage from the sky, and that's kind of, I'm sorry to do an Overwatch comparison here, but I think that's the big issue, honestly, because Farah, right, in Overwatch, classic Farah flying out her rocket launcher, is that Farah can fly, right? She can shoot from the sky, and she does pretty AoE damage as well, but it's also very high damage, right? So Farah is very annoying and has been a pretty popular high tier character in Overwatch since Alpha to now, basically. Never the best character, I would say, but pretty high character because, again, pretty high damage from kind of unorthodox angles, right? Means that you're always kind of a useful character because you can kind of shoot at them from weird angles and you always do high damage, right? So it's all a threat, right? But Storm is those they said same thing, right, on paper, but because then the damage is so low from Storm, even though it's kind of confusing, who's shooting at me, Oh, it's Storm over there, even if you get the feeling, someone is doing something at me from some weird angle, right? That's kind of how a Storm feels to when you face her. But again, then her damage is so incredibly low, so you're just like, well, it hurt me. So it's like, oh, it hurt a bit, but die, Storm. Yeah, it's like, her, I guess her ambush, whatever you call it, is just so ineffective, right? Because of the lack of high damage, you're like, yeah, whatever. It's kind of like, oh, it hurt me slightly, but I just there's some annoying mosquito and whatever, get away, fly. Yeah, it's like she's just too weak, right? Far too weak. Absolute trash character. And then she has this like AoE team thing, right? Either buffing you or speeding your character up, which is like not completely useless, but you can swap between them and they're not very good either. I mean, even if that team buff was like both of them at the same time, she'd probably be a trashy character, honestly. Because then this is the best thing for her is that thing. The only thing which is really good with her is the ultimate. She's just a tornado. Her ultimate is quite powerful. But because you have so low damage, right, you're gonna gain the ultimate slower or whatever. She's easy to kill. Also makes the ultimate slower because you hard to shoot at the people. And her ultimate still is worse than whatever Jeff's ultimate is or so forth. All the ultimates are better and do more. I mean, it's like a better ultimate than Scarlet Witch than Wanda's because they both do kind of high EV damage, but it's easy to avoid Scarlet Witch one. So it's not the worst ultimate, but again, the only thing good with her is ultimate. Yeah, the only thing good with her ultimate. All that is terrible. But she's basically probably the second worst character of Wolverine. They're definitely the bottom 2 characters. Straight up, yeah. Don't play Storm. I can't see anyone. But I think that people agree with me here. If anything, they come below, of course. But I think that people will agree with me on these 2 characters the most, right? You might disagree with me about good Caps or whatever, because I love Cap and he's the character I played the most by far, definitely. But so maybe I'm biased, but I think people will definitely agree with me on these 2 characters. They're being trash here. But usually, I think when you make a T list, it's easy to figure out usually who are the worst characters, yeah, or no one play. But honestly, who plays Storms, right? I played it myself when I started playing the game because I like Storm and Wolverine, X-Men and so on. But like I said, she's so bad. I started playing her. Wolverine, same thing. I started playing him. His first class I played. Tried him for a few games. I was like, this character feels terrible. What's happening? Yeah, like, why am I doing wrong? Googling it. Wolverine is terrible. Like, you don't say, you know what I mean? So I feel like you don't even see these characters. You don't even see them. Neither of them has played anymore. Everyone knows they're terrible. Yeah, but whatever. So it's probably just nothing new here then. Another character I find really terrible is Squirrel Girl. I think she's very bad too. Not as bad as like Storm bad, I suppose, but I don't think she's C tier either because. So, Squirrel Girl feels like a worse DPS in the game, arguably. I think Storm she's probably actually better than Storm, right? But Squirrel Girl has this like, how do I say it? I think Squirrel Girl is, how would I phrase it intellectually? I think Squirrel Girl will end up being the worst DPS in the game, okay? Currently, she's better than Wolverine and Storm, even though they're both trash tier. And I find she's probably slightly better than them. It's a kind of, half trash, half like bottom tier. But I think that her general mechanics are just kind of weak. She basically shoots stuff at you, right, with her like slingshot. And she can make it slightly stronger with AoE. And she can summon her like squirrels run around and so on, right? But it basically is like her DPS, it's just DPS, right? She's not very mobile, she can like bounce up and so on. But you can much rather play Star-Lord, who's in later, which I love Star-Lord playing. He's really, really fast. You can play Mad, you can teleport around, she's way faster than that, right? So you can play other characters, which have much higher ability than her, and are in the kind of mid-range field, right? You can play snipers, right? Like Black Hawkeye, which can really add damage her for, and also Hela for that matter. And then you can play characters like Storm, that can fly from the sky or whatever, right? Same thing with Star-Lord from extent and Iron Man. But even if she's stronger than Storm right now, right? Like I said, I do think they're gonna buff, of course, Storm and Wolverine. So, when they have buffed Storm, she'll probably be better than Squirrel Girl. Because fundamentally, what Storm does is much more unique, it's better, it has its AoE things, or support things. And Squirrel Girl is just like a weak DPS character. And I don't think we're gonna see almost anyone playing her, and I almost barely see anyone play her either for that matter, but she feels like a DPS character that can do DPS right. She has like no redeeming qualities. Not really. And her DPS is like pretty okay. Her DPS is, she isn't the worst character in the game because her DPS is like pretty strong. But again, you can find other characters that do higher DPS right, and they also have some maybe support mechanic. So the Winter Soldier has a stance or something like that. You can find other DPS that have more tools, right? And also do high DPS than her. Or you can find someone like Star-Lord can move around the way more, I can backstab them and so on. So, yeah, I think she's trash tier too. But she's probably Like I said, I think that Squirrel Girl is like fundamentally probably the most trash cat in the game. Yeah. The other two characters are trash because they're badly balanced, and she's trash because she's just like a bad mechanic. She probably will always be trash, seriously. They should be the worst DPS in the game, probably. Fundamentally the worst DPS, something like that. What more do we have? Some other characters are really... These are probably my top 3 like trash tier characters, which I feel like, why would I play them? Yeah, it's like, why would I ever play them? Something like that. I'm thinking if there's any other trash character which I feel are as trash as this. But I think it's it. I would actually put probably Black Widow in like trash and C tier. Somewhere there. No, this is probably it, guys. Okay, let's go on with this. This is probably it. Now we're kind of in the middle here. Okay. I mean, it's like trying to figure out who more do I hate. No, but this is probably it. Let's talk snipers now. Because Black Widow for me is also a pretty bad character, okay? Black Widow is almost trash tier. That's why I'm really thinking, like, is she trash tier? She is very close to trash tier, okay? I'll say it immediately, Hawkeye is a better character than Black Widow. Important to understand, he's definitely a better sniper. So this is definitely something like that. He might even be up here though, so I feel like, but like for just starting value here. So Black Widow is just not a very good Widowmaker. Yeah, I love that guy. He's like, oh, he's copying that thing. He's true, he's right though, but yeah, go back and forth. But anyway, Black Widow is this game's Widowmaker, and she's a sniper, right? She's a sniper, but the thing is that I would rather play Widowmaker, okay? And then honestly, I feel it's a pretty good critique on her character because she can snipe, right? Her ultimate's like lobbing a sniper, like a sniper projectile that explodes, I guess you call that. The thing is that she lacks some of the ability that Widowmaker had, like the poison mine or whatever. And she is like a worse sniper character. Then instead she can fight with her like baton sticks, right? There's a kick and so on. And actually, I have to say, I actually agree with the guy in Blizzard. I'm biased here because I work there. I don't know the guy, but I don't know. I've met him at what maybe. But it's like, Black Widow to me has really been like a sniper character in the comic books or in the movies. She's more like a martial artist, right? So actually, I do agree with him a little bit. It's like, well, I mean, she's not really typically like a sniper lady. She's more the batons for her. I think actually, I would be more interested in playing her with the baton and her, like, you know, shooting her spider bites thing, right? She has her things on her armlets, shoots like the needle things. So I think actually she's like a weird design character because if she played in other games, right? She would be like a martial art master, and she has her like poison stingers she shoots at, or like paralyzing and stuff like that with her arms. So she should probably be like should be a character playing more like Iron Fist or something like that. That probably would make more sense. And you should dive in with her and punch them, and you know, maybe have some stun grab or something. That would make a lot more sense. Honestly, I have to say so. As a character, I would say so. But anyway, now she's kind of is in the middle there, where she has half her abilities are kind of like that, you know, martial artist, assassin lady, which I expect her to be more, right, from the comic books. And then the other half is a, you know, sniper lady. And this is basically trash, right? And honestly, I find she's probably trash too because she's like, she isn't as bad as those two, but she isn't very good, right? Because it's like, why would I play her if I want to be a sniper? And I'd rather be a sniper, right? Obviously, when someone jumps you as a sniper, it is useful to have her melee abilities, to just swap weapon, right, and fight them. But I still would rather have a stronger sniper lady that would do more sniper damage, right? And then if they jump me, I'm dead. I'd rather have that because most of the time it's easy to not get jumped, right? And also, I feel when I'm playing a sniper woman, right? A sniper waifu, I want to stay untouched, you know? I want to stay on the range, you know? It's kind of like I'm bothered by this thing, but honestly, I'm bothered by this shit thing here. But honestly, yeah, I'm gonna put Widowmaker in goddamn trash tier. And I had her sit there, yeah, she's terrible. She probably here somewhere because it doesn't make any sense, right? She's a terrible She's not the worst sniper in the game, but she's a pretty bad sniper. And then she has pretty like trashy melee stuff. I rather would have, you know, no melee abilities, like no like batoon shit. It's a better sniper stuff, traps, mines, whatever. Better range abilities, more damage on the sniper, shooting faster. I would rather have her being a better far range lady, right? Far range waifu, like Widowmaker, than having her be like worse at far range and have somewhat melee stuff to do, but not very useful close combat stuff, right? Because again, I rather play Iron Fist if I want to be punch them in the face, right? So she's like half-ass sniper, not really good for melee. She's trashy. She's trashy too. It's a trashy character. The Hawkeye, of course, is a much better character because Hawkeye is just like a much better range character. He can speed up his bullets and so on. Much better at that. He also has some deflect stuff he can fire. He's like an AT character, yeah, and she's like trashy, so yeah, we didn't make it dead to me. And honestly, this might be my experience too, but Hawkeye, I say a lot in the game. Hawkeye, I find is a very common character to face, and I don't see anyone playing Widowmaker whatsoever. And I think that's just what I said, right? Because he's a much better sniper than her. He might be worse than her in melee. He's, I guess, he's the deflector, but he's worse than her in close combat. But like I said, why do you care about that? Because most of the time you don't really be in close combat anyway. It's like I don't want to be good at close combat with a sniper character. You know what I mean? It's a very weird character actually. She's a very weird character. They're trying to have her both be like close combat and so it's weird. Well, that being said though, she's better than Storm though, so I guess we put her here, I guess. Something like that, yeah. I guess he's better than Storm, I suppose, but okay. Yeah, Storm and Wolverine can be in most there, but no, I never play her. And Hawkeye is probably A or B tier. I don't think he's not incredibly good either, so I don't think he's like up here, but he's somewhere in this lane of like, yeah, I think it's fair he's A tier right there. But he definitely is much better than Widowmaker. Like, it's much better than Widowmaker. And we're not getting into him too much then. I mean, basically, he's like her, right? He can shoot stuff. He's Hanzo and Genji. He can jump around. He can deflect. His ultimate is pretty useful to shoot stuff behind. Like, his ultimate is very useful in what's called mirror matches. Yeah, his ultimate is like you can see them when they're moving. It's very useful against other people standing on corners or whatever, trying to like snipe you. Right? It doesn't have to be Hawkeye, but it can be Star-Lord or some other character moving back and forth on the side or whatever. So that's interesting actually. Yeah, it's very anti like Star-Lord or other character that kind of it's also up there in the sky like Iron Man and so on. But anyway, yeah, I think it's actually pretty fair to put her. It's better than Squirrel Girl, but not, yeah. What more do we have of trash and good characters? Most of the characters I probably feel I put in the middle, honestly. Thor, I find him pretty weak. He's just tanky. Yeah, Thor is a pretty bad character, I think. Because he doesn't do much for his team, right? So, Thor is one of those characters kind of weird because he's just a tanky character, and that sounds kind of like, well, yeah, he's a tank, obviously, but I mean, like, he doesn't do much for anyone else, right? He can't, like, protect anyone. He kind of punch stuff. It's a lot of health points, but, I mean, basically, it's like, he's like a DPS character with a lot of health points, you know what I mean? Because you can't really, like, do anything for the other guys. He has no utility. But basically, it's like, he won't ever save you. Right? He probably will stand and fight the longest by himself, but it's like, yeah, his DPS is pretty low. He can move pretty good. His ultimate is very hard to get used for, also for that matter. And he also got like he got like this tree hammer thing. So if you jump too much or fly or whatever, you lose your ammo basically. If you regain it, so he's limited by that as well, though. But I think that Thor is just kind of weak character, except because again he has a lot of health points. His damage isn't like super high, it's not super low either. But I don't think he's trash here though, because compared to like Wolverine, right? He's very hard to kill. He just takes a lot of damage. His ultimate might be really useful sometimes, and he's kind of an annoying guy when he kind of stays forever. So I think he's like a C tier. But like I said, I much rather play Cap, right? You know, I might be biased against Cap, but I much rather play Cap. Venom and Thor are very similar. a sense, right? Because his Venom is also very much, oh, I'm a tank by myself. Venom is also, you know, oh, I'm tanky, you can't kill me. But again, Venom is much harder to kill than Thor, because Venom can fly away so fast, he can swing around and climb and so on. So Venom is much better at engaging and also escaping out from dying. So yeah, why would I rather play, you know, why not play Venom instead of Thor, right? Because they're very, very similar too. Very much so. Yeah, I don't know, like just straight up a worse Venom probably. Something like that. Yeah, I don't see him being useful. But he's not trashy though. So Hulk, I could keep my tags here. Hulk, I feel, is also, in a similar way, also not very good. So Hulk he's obviously more useful than Thor, right? But he's very tanky, a lot of health points. He has this like bubble thing, so he gives you a gun bubble and himself, right? So again, that's why kind of him and Thor are different, right? Because, like I said, right, Thor basically just fights people, right? And he has some little weird debuff on there, but it doesn't really matter much. But like Hulk at least protects you. He has a little more CC and so on. So yeah, Hulk is definitely better than Thor, I think, almost always. And he can grab you, and he can grab. Yeah, and his grab is pretty good to kill that one guy. So no, Hulk is. I think, yeah, he's definitely better than Thor. I think that would I say easily. But he's somewhere around that Venom stage where he's slightly more useful than Venom for the team with his CC and shit and so on. But he can't engage as good. He's also basically like an offensive tank, but he can't really shield like that. So I think he's like slightly worse than Venom probably. Maybe with high utility. I think they're both pretty bad tanks. I don't think Venom is a good tank either, you know what I mean? I think people just play Venom because he's very easy to play, right? But I don't think he's very good. But I think it's pretty fair. He's like a weak... Yeah, Thor is probably the worst tank and Hulk is probably second worst. But I still think he's like still clearly better than Thor. So I think him in B tier is fitting. We go for the next tank then. I'm just going by tanks now then. But I mean, I feel kind of my worst characters out like earlier. I feel the trashy first, right? Because Magneto is probably even on... I don't know if I put him up here, but he's definitely the A tier it is. So Magneto is a much better tank. He's a very good tank. I might put him here then, because I think he's very like almost one super god tier, S tier. So Magneto is the best defensive tank probably. And now when I say that, I probably put him up in S tier by that, because he's just like, he shoots stuff, he blocks stuff, right? He can throw his bubble. The bubble is incredibly potent because you bubble up some ally that's about to die. They have some kind of duel up in the corner. You like bubble that guy, then the guy sort of wins. His ultimate is actually probably the weakest thing with him. The ultimate is fine, but it's not the defensive ultimate. He's very, very good, right, at being the attack that stands at the point, that is on the payload and protecting the guys. He's very good at saving your healers by throwing a bubble at them if they get attacked by, you know, Iron Fist or whatever, right, or something like that, or jump into you with Venom and so on. He's extremely good for the team, and I honestly find he is probably an S tier tank. And Dr.Strange is like slightly weaker than him. I think Dr.Strange is he's the worst Magneto. So first of all, Dr.Strange has his bubble, right? His giant shield. That shield is fantastic. It's a Reinhardt, right, of the game. It's an amazing shield. It covers up everything kind of thing, and it's a very, very good shield. It's obviously the best shield in the game. Giant size of it. Blocks off a massive side, right? So that's very, very good for him. And he's, of course, then, similar to Magneto, that he's very good at you staying on the payload or standing on a positioning, a choke point, whatever, and holding that. And he's very, very powerful. But I don't find that Dr.Strange does so much more than that, because his teleport circle, it's 2-minute cooldown. It's kind of, you can do gimme with it, you can out it, you can help your team with it, but it just has so long cooldown. And sure, you get some kills sometimes by throwing them out in the sky and so on. There's some fun stuff in it, but it has too long cooldown, I feel, to really be like consistent with that. And mostly it's like a short cut or something, but it is still kind of useful when you do it. So it's kind of like having almost two ultimates with him. Yeah, like the teleport circle is very powerful. You see it on cooldown. It's basically another ultimate to some extent. So it's a little bit weird, but interesting to speak. His levitate though is almost useless because he uses it up in the sky, and it gives you an order. You can jump in the basic, right? But compatible to Namor, they can do the exact same thing, but Namor gets like a really good shield too. So then I'll get in the game, honestly. A lot of characters in the game has this like levitate, where they can just fly up, right? But when you do that with Scarlet Witch, you're invis, right? You can see the ball team, but you can basically hard to see her. Which you need like a bird with Hela and so on. But the Strange just flies up. Yeah, and he's like super vulnerable if you do it. He's like, you can have vulnerable if you fly up there. But then you can release and shield in the sky and so on. But it's kind of a little bit like vulnerable. Where Namor flies up the same thing, but he gets like a water shield. It's very powerful. So it's like a really weird mechanic, I feel. It's just like a worse mechanic than everyone else. So I find him to be like somewhere here in the A tier where he's like pretty good. Again, clearly the best team shield, right? Ultimate is pretty good. Yeah, like he has like the best shield, and then a pretty good ultimate, and the teleport, like I said, is like a half-ass ultimate, pretty good. The healing is, or the flying, I mean, is weird. Doesn't do much for you, you know. And then he has decent like fighting damage when he's fighting. He's a tanky guy that can shoot like Magneto, but I think he's strictly a worse Magneto. I really don't see many games where you rather not have Magneto over Strange, but they're very similar. Right? Magneto does a huge shield as well. It's weaker than Strange shield. But the bubble thing, throw a bubble on your ally is much stronger than what Strange can do. So I really don't see why you play them over that. But like I said earlier, right? If I put Magneto here, then I would put Strange out here, right? Yeah. And that to me feels weird because I do think Strange is better than Venom and Hulk. So this to me actually feels the correct thing then, because this thing here, this thing is exactly, honestly, this thing here is exactly how tanking is in Marvel Rivals, okay? This is the perfect tank list. You have Magneto, he's like A tier. Magneto is S/A tier. Yeah, Dr. Strange, the Hulk, and then Thor. He goes like and then over there is Cap. He's like he's much better. He's just way better. Groot is somewhere in the middle here between these guys. I think Groot also is less than that. Groot's also probably like an S tier. It's also very powerful tanking. So it's like somewhere that is like, yeah, it's the ladder of tanking here. So let's say Groot then is like he's made. No, but Groot is powerful, right? Because you build your three things, you make your wood thing. It's very massively, deflecting bullets, right? It's similar to Strange because you basically can choke off a point and take all the bullets there. That's the same thing, right? His ultimate is much better though. Can CC ultimating, right? He can fight more and so on. So I feel he's a better Strange, right? He is similar to Strange, he's better. Also more mobile because it's better to be able to create like a giant tree shield in front of you than having to beat the shield yourself. Strange has the best bubble shield, absolutely, but he himself has to run up there. But where Groot can like see an ally dying, almost dying, and throw a shield in front of the ally and block for the ally, right? Not as good as Magneto because he can bubble them, but he can like save them by doing that. So he's like a mix between these two guys, right? But like I said, I think Magneto is slightly better, but Groot is like somewhere up there. So I think it actually is kind of fair how it is. And honestly, I do think the tanks and the healers are the best character in the game. Yeah, it's only 80. I'm like, stop playing DPS, guys. But seriously, I think most DPS in the game aren't that good. And it really is the DPS, the tank and the healers where you see the bigger, like, stages. And generally speaking here, this is a bit tip, guys. Generally speaking, okay. So, tanks and healers are the best characters in the game by far. I want to say that because they all do protect healer, but no. I think they are better. They have better abilities and so on. And especially characters like Mantis, where you're like, oh, I can do high DPS and heal. Like, why would I be here as have DPS, right? All that being said, though, my best tip for you, if you want to rank up in this game, set it Overwatch or whatever, and also Dota, LoL usually, is to play support, right? Actually, yeah. Usually in these kind of games, MOBA games, whatever, right? The easiest way to rank up is usually to play the non-DPS character. Not only because, everyone plays DPS or whatever, but rather in the sense that if you're playing a really good tank, right, you're gonna make sort of big a difference, right, than if you play a good DPS. Because there's so many mid DPS, right? So you being a good DPS, you're better than those guys are, but you know, but if you're a really good tank, you're actually really change the outcome. If you're a really good healer, then you can trigger your ultimate, go to the ultimate, you will save your whole team, you know. So it's like, usually, especially as tanking, but also healer, you have much bigger impact the better you are. Your skill level, if you actually are like good at the game, and this is your team calling you back, right? It's actually there you show the most. And if you have a really terrible team, then tanking is the best thing, right? Because a healer, you have to team to do something, right? But if you're a really good tank, like with Cap, you can do so much like a team, right? Without needing to have like, your team doing stuff, right? And as a DPS, you also will probably have the most successful playing the diver DPS than like Iron Fist that does kill the other guys easy by himself, right? If you wanna rank up, really speaking here. But anyway, few characters left here in the middle. These guys will obviously be kind of in the middle, the rest of them then. Yeah, I think Odin Warlock, also a pretty good character. He's the Mercy. No, he's like a pretty good character, right? He's a healer. He's very vulnerable. He can't really do much of himself at all. He is slow. He has no like evasion. He's just super vulnerable. I think there's a big weakness for him. But he's a pretty good heal, and he has this like soul link, whatever it's called. But it's like a thing from Warcraft 3, right? Where you can like link up the characters so you have the damage to take. It's like shared. That is very good. That ability is great, really. To protect your team to die slower. It's a very good ability to spam. And then of course he has the ultimate we use resurrect everyone, right? So classic AoE res that can really change the outcome of the game massively. Arguably the best ultimate in the game, of course. Mass res. And given the situation, it can definitely be the best ultimate. Somewhat situation on that, of course, but somewhere up there. But I think he's somewhat weaker. His DPS is weaker, but I think mostly for him is like he's so easy to kill though. Yeah, like I said, he has no escape, right? You know, because he can't jump to people, and comparing to Mercy, that is very similar to Mercy. Mercy usually would fly to one of her, flying far or whatever, right? And that was a classic thing. You jump to like an ally that was in the sky and so on. He can't really do that, so he's very vulnerable. I keep saying, and that's why I put him in like AT. But I think he's one of the better characters. But I'd rather play like Mantis or. But the thing is that Mantis also can't escape. Right? She's also very slow, but she can like CC the enemy if they jump her, right? But like, yeah, he can't do anything if you jump him. So he's very weak, against Iron Fist and so on. He's incredibly easy to kill him with Iron Fist or the similar character like Black Panther as well, which makes him, of course, kind of weak in a sense. Easy to counter him, yeah. What more do we have? It's kind of like in the middle there. The Cloak and Dagger, also probably around here. Interesting character, of course, the two characters, but I don't think either of them are like amazing, right? They have a little bit support, a little bit debuffs, like Cloak's like, oh, we can't see stuff now, some healing. I mean, it's a pretty decent character, but I don't think that Cloak and Dagger is that classic hybrid character where it's like, oh, they have more abilities, right, than other characters have because they're two different forms, but neither of the abilities are very good. You know what I mean? It's like they have 6 instead of 4 abilities, but then each ability is weaker than the normal ability. so something like that, yeah. So you kind of like, Aggressor has ability, but it's very useful. But they aren't bad though. But it's more like they don't really like, oh my god, this is amazing, like Loki. It's more like, oh, this is okay, right? So I find them probably, I think they're good, like A tier support. And then lastly, Luna is somewhere feeling B tier. Yeah, she can buff the team and so on. Not extremely good. She's probably the weakest. And Racoon, they can be the same time here. He's also pretty weak. He can shoot himself, gives you ammo. They can be pretty useful. But Racoon is probably the character that is the most, synergized to the character, right? Because he's like free ammo thing is very powerful. His best ability is the free ammo stuff by far. But the thing is that other character, for example Jeft and the Shark, they can give you like ice shots to like Namor. Doesn't make Namor better. Sure, of course Namor and him and Luna and Jeff makes Namor look like ice turrets, okay? That's better than normal turrets, absolutely. But it's not like game changing, right? It's like, it's like slow ability, that's good. But like Winter Soldier and Punisher gets like free ammo forever with Rocket. right? That is massive. You can shoot reloading, yeah. That actually makes Dr. Cat do way more damage. So Rocket Raccoon I feel an interesting character because, like I said, he is probably A tier, but he's like, I put him in B, right? Because he's situationally better, right? You know what I mean? He's like good, given that you have the Punisher and we told you, yeah, he's very good in a certain team, but his passives are better with the correct team, right? And then I find him weaker. We ever said, but again, Loki is good. Mantis is good, right? No matter who your party is, right? So Rocket is maybe as good as they are if you have the correct team. And the rest are weaker. The Luna, I find her pretty weak, honestly. Yeah, she cannot dance around. She has like her shooting thing with heal stuff. She's just a worse Mantis, right? Because she can like do some damage, and she can also heal with that and so on. So similar to Mantis and this hybrid, you know, like, oh, I damage and I heal stuff, just like she do. But Mantis, like I said earlier, she can empower herself and do high damage, right? Luna can't do that. Her ultimate are also kind of similar, like an AoE ultimate heal for party. But again, the Mantis, like everyone is like immortal, super healing, you know. It's also better. So she efficiency is a worse Mantis. I really don't see this. I feel this again here. Like, why would you? This is straight up. I feel like, why would you play Luna over Mantis? Except like synergy, then you talk about. Perhaps. I mean, yeah. If you have like Namor and Jeff in your team, maybe you should play Luna then, so you get like the ice synergy. You know, that might be better. But if I just look at her like in a vacuum, she's definitely weaker. And even with that, honestly, even with that, it's not like game changing the ice thing. I think this is pretty fair. Rocket, I think, is actually my C tier. But Rocket, I said, he's like really good in some parties, otherwise pretty bad. So he's like probably B in average then, but he's like almost. He's the worst support though. Yeah, definitely. I'd say he's definitely the worst support. Oh yeah, that was all support, right? I think so. Every last one of them. Now we have all the we have Peni Parker too. I forgot about her. She's a tank. I forgot about her. Vanguard. She's a good character though, but I forgot she's a tank. I forgot that Peni is even a Vanguard. So this is what I mean. She's not a Vanguard. She's a DPS, right? So what Peni does is she throws traps everywhere, the mines, and she honestly is the kind of character where you're like, is she even a tank then? She's more like a strategist, right? And she has a lot of health points, and she goes crazy. I really don't see her as a very good tank whatsoever. She goes a healer with the team, but she's much more like a strategist than is tanky. She's a good character, don't get me wrong, I think she's a good character. But I think it's more to point out that I don't think she's very tanky, you know what I mean? I don't think she fulfills a tank role. She, for me, is a strategist. She should be in the freaking, you know, strategy pile, yeah. Like, I forgot she was a tank, right? Honestly, genuinely, like, what? Yeah, it's true. This is probably better than... It's probably here somewhere. I mean, I actually do find her pretty powerful, though. But I don't think she's, like, a tank. I think she's probably stronger than Strange, though. Yeah, she's probably somewhere here. If it's fair. So, like I said, right, she isn't... like I said, you can't say she's a strategist. Sorry, as a tank, because I mean, I guess she will like technically tank for a team, but trying out to trap stuff like that. But again, that's more like a turret creator, right? She goes crazy. She's a lot of life points to make her a Vanguard. She's a very weird character, honestly, because yeah, she's kind of like she doesn't do anything that is tanky except having high health points. I mean, certainly she can jump around a bit, and she can heal with that, but she's a little bit all everything. But like I keep saying, she's a good character, but she's not really like a tank. Her ultimate makes you just run around and punch stuff, which is a pretty good ultimate. But I think some team can deal with that very easily, so she's just like a situational character. She's very good against certain, but well, she's good against jumpers though, so she's good against like the divers. Situational character. Okay, anyway. Now we got about DPS, right? Yeah, and the rest of is DPS. Yeah, the rest of is... I mean, you can probably see where this is going, right? Even without me even like going in now and be like, oh, this is DPS now. You can kind of feel like, okay, this is about DPS now. This is in the middle somewhere, yeah. The rest of these like 10 buffoons are just like in the middle somewhere. To some extent, right? Some, not all, but yeah. Obviously, now it's gonna be like middle DPS guys. To a lot of extent, right? But anyway, let's start then. Winter Soldier is probably one of the best DPS. I think he's probably the 8th tier DPS right now, best DPS. Probably put him higher here. Somewhere up here probably. Not so important what exactly is right now. But Winter Soldier, great CC, right? Got the stun, got the hook, high DPS from distance, right? Especially mid-range, so very high DPS. Extremely strong at like the payload stage, I feel. Incredibly good when you're moving the payload forward. You're driving the car up, you know what I mean? He's standing on the car or behind and so on. He's very, very good with that, like defensive DPS with your Magneto or Groot or whatever, right? Incredibly strong. Standing at that, getting some bust by them. If they jump your back lane, right, like a healer behind you, they have Mantis behind you, you can stun them, you can hook them, right? So it's very good against. It's countering, you know, the divers, right? He's probably the best character to counter people to jump your team, right? He himself has no evasion though. Arguably, he has like charge forward, so that's slight evasion. But that's also another CC, right? So 3 CCs. He's way too much. He's OP man. He's OP man. Yeah, it's always OP because you got so much CC, right? But again, there's also this ability is very powerful in the defensive point. If you're standing and like covering your back lane, right, by like punching them, charge punching them, knocking up in the air and so on. He's very good at that. The only thing he's bad at as a DPS is he's not like a pusher. He's not like a money maker, so he can't engage into stuff in a good way. So maybe there's that type of Star-Lord is probably the best DPS, him or Psylocke, to go around the stage, right? They can like sneak in behind them and like land on their, you know, the point, right? And like force them to go back. So there has always been a useful thing for these like stealthy characters who can, you know, sneak around, right? And he can't do that, of course. Iron Fist can do it, kinda, right? He can run on the wall and so on. So that's his, of course, only real weakness. Him as a DPS can't fulfill that, like, kind of sneaking in the DPS, right? He can steal a point or whatever, or a nose from the sideline, right? He can't do it at all. But he's probably, but he's definitely the strongest DPS, like with your team, you know. Absolutely, the strongest like team support DPS character. So very, very powerful character. Then of course his ultimate can like be redone, or no, his ultimate you can redo it if you hit with it, right? So you can spam his ultimate. But people complain about that right now. It's the best ultimate in the game. I would agree. I think it's very situational to get off like 5 ultimate with him, but you can do it, right? It's kind of situational, absolutely. But it's like it's a good ultimate, and sometimes it's very good. But I think it's really straight more than he has so much CC, right? He can have he's a supportive character, yeah, for the team. So he's definitely probably the best DPS, especially like I said, standing on like a payload. Definitely then absolutely the best deeps. Put maybe over Jeff even. Whatever, I'll put it in later. But anyway, talking about mover guys then, I definitely put Star-Lord somewhere up here. Star-Lord, also very good DPS. Like I said, right, the point of Star-Lord isn't to do high DPS, it's to be annoying, right? No, but seriously, I think people really misplay him a lot. The point of Star-Lord isn't to like you stand in the back and do like boom boom or stand on the side a bit. The point of Star-Lord is basically to fly around and get behind them, right? And start shooting from a balcony, like, you know, far behind the enemies. So that's turn around to fix you, right? You know. But when you do that, right, you're pulling them away, right, from their team, right? Yeah. You want to pull away like 2 guys to you, right? Then you just fly around in the background and they chase after you. That's what I actually want, because if they chase after you, the 2 of them, you are, you know, missing out. You're creating a 5 versus 4 over there, right? So that's where Star-Lord really shines. You want to avoid the wrong thing. He's very good at that. His ultimate is actually very powerful. One of the best ultimate in the game easily. Obviously, it's a soldier and auto aim thing, but honestly, I think arguably, especially on lower, honestly, I'm slightly, but especially on lower ranks, Star-Lord probably has the best ultimate in the game on lower tier list, right? Because basically, you can't miss with it, right? You ultimate with Star-Lord, it takes like 0 skills, and you get like 2 kills at least. Yeah, it's like yes, auto aiming it, so you and because he can flap in the sky and then shoot it downwards, you basically always get at least 1 or 2, usually like 3 or 4. So he's one of the best ultimate in the game easily. And like I said, it has like 0 skills to to use it. Yeah, like it's probably the most like consistent ultimate in the whole game. From DPSing it, yeah, it's much easier to use than any other like DPS ultimate. It's quite powerful. Then you have the whole like spinning thing, and you can reload and so on. But I think, like I said, that with Star-Lord, if you're really good at like being annoying with him, flying on the back, it's very powerful. And then also, of course, stealing stuff, right? When I play Star-Lord all the time, I just fly to this space, right, to like the point, land on it, force it to go back, and then I fly away again, and then I hide or something like that. Like forcing the team to not be in the position, right? Taking the payload, so to speak, yeah, hiding around the spawn, getting back and so on, yeah, forcing them to play on old docs, you know, that's what he's good at, forces the point. And Psylocke does kind of the same thing, he's worse at it, hard to escape with her, but she can stealth though, but I don't think she's that good, put it like B tier. Psylocke is mostly just a weaker Star-Lord, right, she can also do the same thing, like she can stealth instead. She can also then, you know, move around, right? Get behind them, get the good positioning, some corner or something, throw shuriken at them, whatever, right? But you know, she's a harder time escaping at him. Her ultimate is just worse. Her ultimate is she's Genny. She's a hot Genny, yeah. Why for Genny? Her ultimate is just like Shazam hitting stuff, but it's like. I mean, it's an okay ultimate, but his ultimate is better, right? You know, you shoot out the ultimate. She's a good example of like I mentioned earlier, why would you not just really play Star-Lord, right? She's melee to some extent though. She's better against some enemies, and she's slightly better than Star-Lord if you get jumped, right? If he's in the back lane and you get jumped by like Iron Fist, she's better against Iron Fist than he is. But if you yourself is the one up in the in the flanking line, doesn't matter that much, and he just has an easier time getting it by flying and so on. So I feel she's, you know, again, you know, a stealthy infiltrator, but it's like, yeah, but you have Star-Lord doing that, and also, of course, Iron Fist also better at that. Yeah, Iron Fist and Psylocke are very similar to, right? Melee, close combat guys, but Iron Fist does way more damage, he's way more sticky on the enemies, right, I talked about earlier. He jumps after them, Cap, the same thing, right? But again, Cap is ST because Cap is a tank doing that, and you can't, yeah, Cap is the best, again, because he can just keep on you, right, and he's tanking you down, and it's super annoying. Where she used to die like a, you know, mosquito. So it's like, honestly, yeah. I mean, honestly, if you have 2 DPS and you wanna play a 3rd DPS, yeah, I'd rather play like Cap than her because he can do the same thing she does most of the time, but he just like has double the health point, they can deflect stuff, so it's just like way more annoying than what she does. No, but honestly, it's like, yeah, she's kind of pointless because you can also play Venom instead of her instead, doing mostly the same stuff, right? So it's a little bit like, why would I use to play a tank instead of doing the same thing then? But anyway, let's keep going. Punisher, I don't think he's very strong, honestly. He's the Bastion then, of course, if you say my Overwatch references. But honestly, I don't find him very strong. He's stronger than probably, I guess, the Bastion because he can turn into a turret, right, and shoot. And sometimes that's very useful. And it really does remind me of, again, I keep saying it, but he is, of course, super similar to Bastion then because not only is it the same thing that I turned into a turret thing, but Bastion had the exact same issue, right, in Overwatch, that he, when the game was new, that he was like way OP at certain places, right? He was incredibly OP, given a correct like situation when you turret up and you shoot at them, right? And then nerfed that, he was like slightly better at being non-turret form, and then also, you know, being like, you know, turret was better but slightly worse. And then it kind of became like, oh, at certain situations, certain maps, it's very, very powerful being Bastion still, because you can turn it up and shoot massive damage, right? Even after the nerf. However, everyone kind of knows that, so you see a Bastion, okay, so everyone kind of like stuns you, everyone is like stun ball this thing, and yeah, and everyone is like, there he is, but you can't avoid, right? So it only was a noob, basically, like a noob killer, you know what I mean? But actually, I think when the game was new, even if they were good players, Bastion was one of the best DPS because before he was nerfed, his DPS was so insane that he used like, yeah, because the first season he used like he would use like completely destroy Reinhardt immediately in like a second. Like it didn't matter if you shot at him, he's so popular. But basically, season 2 and forward, right, Bastion basically is unplayable on rank because everyone knows how he works. They stun immediately, right? And that's kind of where I feel he is too, right? It's like, yeah, okay, good. You can do your like, turret form, but everyone will punish you immediately. Hela will throw stuff at you. Quicksilver will throw stuff at you. Winston will stun you. Mantis will stun you. Yeah, Cap will reflect you. It's like no one will. Everyone thinks that it's easy to deal with him, So he's just like a noob killer probably in this game too. He feels slightly stronger, I guess, than Bastion did, but in his like normal form. But I don't know. I just feel like why would I play him rather than like Winter Soldier on that? If he's a Punisher, I keep saying it. He's like an anti-noob guy. Yeah, it only works if the opponent are like really unaware of what he's doing. And because he's so slow too, and he can't fly or teleport or whatever, he can't, of course, then steal stuff. Right? You talk about with Star-Lord and Sarag and so on. He can't steal anything. He's a DPS. They can only go in the backline and shoot stuff. And like I said, right, then Winston is much better than that. Yeah, he's like a really bad Wind Soldier. That's how he comes off of, honestly. Yeah, I think the Punisher is just like a worse Wind Soldier in most situations in this game. Much worse too, because it's not easy. So yeah, it's a very good character. The last one left here then. Hela, I also find she's like slightly stronger than Punisher. Maybe she's A tier. She got like a pretty high like sniper damage kinda. And her bullets, you can like see them. Her ultimate is basically a much better Storm at least. Yeah. Her ultimate is like what Storm should be. I don't know, but with her ultimate she flies upright. And she can throw like these balls that explode, like AoE balls from the sky. And this is basically obviously Farah then, right? Not earlier. So she's like, when she does her ultimate, she becomes what Storm is supposed to be. Yeah, like it's... No, she's very powerful. Her ultimate is very good. But it's kind of funny because it really feels like this is isn't what Storm is. I like how it also changes your power vision. Yeah, it changes your perspective. But no, Hela is pretty strong. She's slightly more healthy than some of the DPS. And her like crow movement form also means she can do. So I think she's better like Punisher, yeah. I think she's better than Punisher. She's better than Hawkeye though. I think she actually is pretty close to Hawkeye. So she might be like top B tier or like lower A tier. But she's probably somewhere here, I think. This is probably fair. But I think she's like, but she's somewhere there, which I kind of go to the best bit to her. But she definitely is a better Punisher, I think. And maybe a better Hawkeye, yeah. She is actually pretty good at long range combat and so on. Like an interesting character. Her ultimate is pretty powerful as mentioned on, yeah. Like, pretty good character. Okay. Then you got the last one. I don't think that he's actually very powerful, actually. Moon Knight. I find him to be somewhere here. Actually, probably worse than Psylocke, I would say. Moon Knight is weird, right? He has this Ankh thing, and you should just destroy the Ankhs. He's also like a noob killer, also. He's also a noob killer, yeah. Because he has this Ankh, right? Ankh is that cross thing from Egyptian faith. And, he's like an Egyptian Khonshu or something, right? But, I mean, you have to be a noob to destroy his Ankh, right? I always destroy immediately when I see them. He doesn't do, like, very high damage. His ultimate is, I think it is to avoid. He summons the Khonshu arm thing and you just go away from it, usually. I think he's like a weaker DPS than most DPS are. He's somewhere like there. I mean, he's better than like Storm and so. Yeah, he's obviously better than Storm and like Squirrel Girl, but he's somewhere like mid. Like he's like playable mid-tier DPS, but not very good. And I don't really see why you wouldn't play other DPS. I actually think that Black Panther now is probably unruly bad here. I would put Black Panther over these guys though. I'm thinking about it. He was there so long earlier. He was put in B tier very early with Iron Fist. But he's probably somewhere here, better than these guys, but not. I put him up there. Yeah, okay. He's like top of B tier. Okay, yeah, that is better. So I would say that he's better than Moon Knight. But I wouldn't say that he's better than Hela. So this actually for me fits right now. Yeah, this is good. This is much better. Okay, Iron Man though. I think he actually isn't that good either. So he's again another flyer guy, right? That is like somewhat useful. He's also somewhere here. No, but actually, I was surprised, right? On Friday, so playing the game, of course, playing it now for like 6 to 7 hours, 10 hours per day, yeah, a lot of hours. But like Iron Man, he's what I expect to be, like a flyer guy. But then you have Storm, then you have Star-Lord, then you have so there's a lot of flyers, right? And he's one of the better ones. But I don't think the Iron Man does that high damage, right? He doesn't do that damage. He's very easy to shoot down. He's not very fast when he flies. So Star-Lord, when he flies, you can dodge with him, you know what I mean? You get off with Iron Man, so he's kind of like, he's very easy to shoot down, just like Storm is. But he, of course, does actual damage, where Storm is like, does something, yeah. So he is probably by far the most, I guess, better than the trash team Storm. Yeah, he's like very similar to Storm, and it's just better than her, clearly. But it's like, his ultimate is pretty strong. From a ball team, you can avoid it. It's a power ultimate, but it can also very small area, so it's easy to avoid it. But you can throw from the sky, though, of course. You can hit them in the back with it. I think he's also probably decently like a mid-tier DPS character. But slightly better than the other guys. Yeah, because he actually probably fulfills that, like, oh, I'm a flyer guy the most, right? So what the Punisher, like I said, he's like, not very good. And Psylocke is like, not very good stealth. And Moon Knight just kind of like not very good because he's like a DPS guy or something. At least Iron Man is like the flyer guy that actually has pretty high damage to some extent. So he's like, you know, I actually hope they can diverse it more in the UI, because now obviously the game is like 20 DPS, right? I hope they can diverse it to like 10, I don't know, like Ninja DPS, like Stealth DPS or whatever. Like, I don't know, call something else Infiltrator or something, like call something else, right? Now they're just calling everything DPS. You could be calling it like, I don't know, like I said, Infiltrator DPS or something else, you know, like Assault or whatever, something more like focus on that. Because, like I said earlier, like Star-Lord does lower damage than Iron Man, right? But he's like an Infiltrator, stealthy guy, so he does much more in the back lane the Iron Man can do. So that's why, you know, evolve it much higher, right? It's about pure DPS. It's not about just how much damage you do. But anyway, lastly then, Magik and Spider-Man. Both also good characters, so I put them for last here. Put Spider-Man for last then. I put Magik somewhere here. I don't think she's as good as Iron Fist. Not as good as Star-Lord, doing weird stuff, shenanigans. Not as annoying as Namor and turrets and AI and so on. He's a very annoying CC guy. But she's pretty good, you know. She teleports in, does a cool DPS. I find her very weak sometimes, though. I mean, it's come back to that thing that if the opponent team is very anti, like, diver guys, right, then she has problems too. But she isn't as, like, super divey as, for example, Iron Fist or Venom or whatever. That kind of just jumps into them, yeah. She's more like she has a teleport attack, right? And I'm sure she can jump in, but she can also jump out more. And she's a little bit interesting utility. So, but she's a pretty cool, high DPS character. And she used, again, I think the most similar to Iron Fist, right? She's very good at like jumping in, teleporting over to the sniper healer, and being super annoying in the back lane. But she has, again, she can avoid stuff with her teleport, she can go out again. So she's probably the DPS that's the most similar to Venom, I guess. But yeah, being the best at those pretty high sweeping melee attacks hit with her. Overall, like good DPS. I think she's better than. Honestly, I guess she's similar to Psylocke too. Yeah, thinking about it, she's a better Psylocke definitely. I think definitely a better Psylocke. So I think this is pretty accurate because she's definitely stronger than Psylocke in almost every situation. Except just like purely, it's like the enemies are very far out. If I could stealth, if I could stealth, they can always behind them all. Go to the point, yeah. Because obviously Psylocke can stealth, and there might be some very weird station where stealthing is super important. But you can also stealth with other characters, though. But yeah, like long range stealth, you're gonna sneak past the whole map. I don't think that's fair to say though. But I think that Psylocke, obviously, she's wife again here, right, and so on. She might be better than on the maps, right? If you have maps coming later that are bigger and wider and so on, it might be better to be a bit of stealth and go up and really sneak around them and stuff like that. But at the same time, again, though, Star-Lord will still probably be the best at that, right? But he's the fast character in the game, easily. Yeah, he's like super fast. He can fly and he can double, quick Europe dump and fly again and so on. Star-Lord is so incredibly fast and agile to just go up there. So, I mean, if you want to have a guy that can stealth in, right, he can do it. Even if you can't see him, I mean, he's so fast, you can just jump up there. But they also basically can fly on some of the maps right now. With Star-Lord, can fly over the ceiling and jump down and so on. So something just, yeah. So it's like Nah, even if they make some weird maps later, I still think the Star-Lord will always be the best at that. With this current character, his current Russo, probably. And then lastly, of course, the man himself, the Spider-Man, with great power, come great possibility. With almost the best character in the game. Spider-Man somewhere up here, probably. Like, seriously. Spider-Man's very powerful, too. Spider-Man's a great character. I don't say this with some bias, because I have my Spider-Man post behind me, always, right? No, but Spider-Man is a powerful character, because he is a DPS. We talk about that. He can stealth, right? So infiltrate stuff. He can jump around, he can go up, he can get behind the enemy lanes, right? So he's very good at that. He's like, I want to swing around and climb and go into like the coming from the behind, right? He can do that. But he's very annoying to fight in melee. He's one of the most annoying guys that you have to combat. Iron Fist slightly better at that, but Spider-Man much better at actually getting in there, right? His ultimate is very powerful, okay, very powerful, and he can CC stuff, right? I think that's the thing. Winter Soldier is at the best DPS because he's just good at CC. He has 3 CC, right, you know? Spider-Man also got the webbing and so on. Spider-Man does something for the team. I think that Spider-Man is actually very few DPS right now in the game that actually benefit the rest of the characters, right? Instead of doing damage, right? So Spider-Man kind of comes up there, and I think he is like the best, one of the best DPS because, again, he got the stealth, he got the movement, he got the annoying, he got the dive, he can CC, he can help the guys, he got a bit of everything. He's a very good character, and you can escape with him so as well, right? So strong character. But I think honestly, right, as I said there, if anything that you kind of see in this game is the lack of CC, right? I mean, think about it. You don't have like, to look here again, right? Black Widow, she can do her punch up, I guess, but it's kind of melee, right? Squirrel Girl is just kind of useless. You just DPS. Storm is just DPS, right? She can buff you. Wolverine is the DPS. He can push away, I guess, but it's ultimate. Psylocke uses DPS, right? You know, Punisher can do the smoke, I suppose, but yeah, and so on, right? So they don't do much except damage him, right? So Winter Soldier again, then Winter Soldier having so much CC really makes him the best character in the game when it comes to DPS, right? So you got 3 CC, you got stun, hook, and lock up. Yeah, amazing guy for CCing. And Spider-Man very similar, right? Yeah, so the DPS, they do so much more, right, than the other DPS guys doing. Yeah, just from like having so much CC, right? And then, you know, Namor also pretty good DPS than the turret guy. And he's not really DPS, so Namor is probably more, him and Loki are more like, you know, being annoying for the team strategist, right? But then of course you have characters like Iron Fist, he's not the best character in the game, but he's incredibly good against healers. To jump in there and be annoying. And Star-Lord similar, but also very good at stealing stuff and so on. So they cannot put up there, right? But yeah, if summarize it then, but I think it's a good point that how the game kind of lacks a lot of CC right now. I think with a lot of these characters. That's something where you really see it coming, right? I can zoom in here more. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, let's just summarize it briefly. I can see all characters now then, but you can see the top and the worst, right? I think Cap probably the best character in the game. I think, like I mentioned earlier, tanking and healing and so on is the best thing. Most tanks and healers are actually pretty good, like higher tier, at least for them. But Cap is really sticks out because he's just such a good like diver. Get in there, super annoying, can never get rid of him, fantastic character with that. Otherwise, Magneto or Groot in the back lane, super awesome, right? Healers though, Mantis, incredible good healer and DPS at the same time. He out DPS of people, buffs them as one. Loki does everything. He can DPS, he can copy ultimates, he can heal everyone, he's hard to kill, the turret does damage, does everything. Winter Soldier, right? Fantastic, CC guy, Spider-Man, CC guy, and some stealth stuff. And then of course Jeff, right? Super annoying, ultimate, good healing and so on. Then in A tier, Iron Fist, the best anti-flanking guy. Star-Lord, the best flanker. Yeah, and man, it's pretty good. Namor, best turret guy, right? Best like actual like just building stuff in the game so far. Hawkeye, best sniper by far. And then some more mid tier. Then in the trash tier, of course, Wolverine, Jesus Christ, Storm, Widowmaker, and Squirrel Girl. Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I'll see the brief again, right? Goddamn, the trash they are, yeah. No, but like Wolverine, I don't get it, right? Wolverine is so weird. I really hope, as I mentioned earlier, I really hope that they're gonna make him into a tank, right? Which makes more sense. It's more fitting. Like if they have a lifesteal from the tank, it'll be easy to kill them. But yeah, I don't know if people know that he's anti-tank. But even knowing that, you want to see with him anyway. And Storm is obviously so weak, right? But I think the Squirrel Girl is probably also be the worst character mechanically wise. Only does DPS, right? And then Widowmaker, like I said earlier, Widowmaker is a good example of this won't be a good character because, you know, she's half like far range melee. Sorry, yeah, that's what I mean. I can't even say it correctly. She is half far range, you know, super like sniper maximum range, right? And then the other half her mechanics are like close combat meleeing. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Instead of having higher damage on her range stuff, she can also do melee stuff if it ever happens. It's just really bad. You're supposed to be a sniper in most games and just keep distance, right? It's just really weird. And it's not like she will benefit from going into melee either. Because you could argue that if she was much stronger in melee, you could, like, you know, not be snipering. You could run in there and do DPS and so on. But maybe there is that. I'll see that. But I don't think so. Because she's gets owned by everyone else. I don't know. But yeah, guys, if you subscribe, slap it, and have a great day.